Here's the crack, here's the crack, here's the crack, here's the crack, here's the crack. Welcome back, talking shit and drinking wine, like and subscribe. Here's the crack.
I seen this thing the other day, and it was basically this conspiracy theory. Speaking of like colour blindness and blindness,
Right.
it's a good segue onto this. Stevie Wonder isn't actually blind.
Why?
So someone
Right.
else was talking about this on a podcast, but there was like two things, right? So apparently, you know Shaquille O'Neal,
Yeah. Shaq. Big Shaq.
Big Shaq. He apparently lived in like the same apartment block as Stevie Wonder, and apparently there was like one day him and another fella were going up like in an elevator, and like the elevator door opened and Stevie Wonder got in and went, "Hello, Shaq." Now, how's man done that?
Well, maybe like what
Maybe
if
he just sensed the size of Shaq.
but like-
and
but like what if they
that's
get
Shaq.
what,
His
There's
gravitational
not much
pull.
space in his
But like,
elevator.
what
it-
if they get this elevator like at the same time every day? Like if you're going to work, like say we lived in the same apartment building and we both went to work at the same time every day, and we got the elevator roughly at the same time.
yeah, but that's just sheer coincidence. Unless like, you know the way they say when you lose one sense, all your other senses, like, so unless he's walked in and went, smells like Shaquille O'Neal.
He's not a fucking dog. like.
Maybe like has a certain breathing pattern that he recognises.
But yeah,
Maybe, you'd imagine Shaq breathes like.
but then there's this other clip, right, which I'll see if I can bring it up for you. There's this other clip where basically he catches a microphone as it's fallen on stage. So there's this like, I'll try and see if I can turn this down, and for all you
Shaking.
audio people, like, we insert it. So that's this one here, and like, watch, he goes to grab it. Do you see?
I know, but like, come on, like.
But look,
I know,
he's
but you're-
blind, so how does he know? He goes to...
I don't even
I feel
think
like it
that's
just hit his
hand.
arm and he
Yeah.
caught it.
No.
But you're saying it as if someone threw a ball at it and he just stuck his hand out and caught it. It was like falling in slow motion there, and he just puts his arm out like this and it falls onto his arm.
So we'll look
Like
up
he
and
didn't
see.
catch it in his hand like fucking proper reflex catch. Like.
So,
I think you're too invested.
well,
in
there's
this.
Lionel Richie. I mean, Lionel Richie, if anybody's a pretty, like, you know, he's a reliable source, and he's
Is
come
he?
out and says, I know
What
he
a-
can see,
What
in
a
caps.
quote, Lionel Richie.
Like he's hinting at it.
Yeah,
Like his
literally.
song's called I Can See. One of the songs is I Can See Clearly Now.
I've been spending my whole life with him thinking he can see. I know he can see, the American Idol judge says on the Kelly Clarkson show. So, you sit on the passenger side, I'll sit on the driver's side. He cranks the car up, he puts the tape in, right? And then he does this, turns around and starts driving backward down the driveway. I screamed, Stevie, what are you doing? And he said, I got you, didn't I? What the heck? Like, why would you ever let a blind man in the...
I know, but he's probably taking the piss, trying to be funny. You know? I think you
You
should
didn't know.
tell the fucking story of your car getting racked up the side, because that's such a good wee detective story.
Oh, my
This is such a good, this is
Inspector
actually a
Cluedo,
good
like.
story. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Inspector
Proper
Shay.
get
So I was like working in the bookies one day, and I think it was like 5 o'clock. I just came back from a dinner, or I went out to the house or something, and came back in, and then finished work at like 9 o'clock that night. So came out to the car at like 9 o'clock, and the whole side of the car was just absolutely destroyed. Like.
What, that car you have at the minute?
Yeah, so like what the fuck, like a lorry or something's obviously came past and wrecked us. So I was like looking about the road, and there was like lights lying off a lorry. So like sort of like brushed them up or whatever, kept them, and then called the cops. Cops came out and they were like looking around it, and then they sort of like stopped for a second, and then they looked around and they're like, there's no CCTV about here, like. And I was like, right. And then they were like, not much we can do. I was like, so where do I go from here, like? And he's like, you're just gonna have to drive her home and get it fixed. And I was fucking fuming, like. I was like, yous are absolutely useless cunts, like. Yous aren't gonna do anything. And they were like, we can put it up on Facebook.
Oh, wow.
And see, does anyone get in touch? Imagine like someone just being like, oh yeah, that was me, soz lad. I'll send the money your way. But that was alright. I just drove home. The fucking car was wrecked. I can't believe they let me drive home in it. Like one of the rims was half like cracked off. Like.
Oh my
And they goes, just drive on home, sure. But like,
You know,
if you had
the
been
funniest
stopped-
part of that was...
if you had been stopped
Yeah.
like that,
yeah,
you'd have been dead.
exactly.
Oh,
But,
the police told me to drive home. Good
Yeah.
one.
So I went on the CCTV in the bookies. Obviously, it wasn't looking at. My car was parked too far up, but I like looked at all the lorries that went past, matched the headlight with one of the lorries, went up to your buddy's yard, found seen the lorry sitting there with no headlight, and then your buddy was like, he was fucking fuming. Like, he was like, he drove that lorry in here and never told anyone that he'd hit it. Like, so sorry if that bike got sacked. Like, but you know,
Oh, did
man
you
had
get-
to get the
did
car
you-
fixed? Like,
you
yeah, he
pay it?
paid for it and all that. So
Were you up with a
Sort
friggin'
of.
magnifying glass and
Yeah, it's
all?
like-
I thought that was
scan your
so
parts, like.
because like that's what the police should have done. Like,
Oh,
like
yeah.
you
Yeah.
done not spent the time watch the CCTV. Like
It's too much effort for them for what it was.
Yeah.
Like.
But do you not think there's that suspect thing where it's like you're a young driver in like what probably back then was considered like a stereotypical young person's car, and
I know
they
there's-
probably thought he's just probably cleared this off a wall, and now he's like sitting here saying,
There's
"Oh,
fucking gold wheels on it. Like.
it was proper bad. Like,
Gold
I remember
wheels.
seeing it in school and just thinking, how the fuck has he done this? Like? And then that was mad. Like.
I drove about with 2 standards on one side and then 2 gold wheels on the other side. So like depending on what side you see me from, like it looked like
ah,
a
the
different
car
car.
either looked
Was the
mint or
door not sort of hanging off it as well? Like, it was
It's
proper
fucked the whole
into the
back
side
like
of it.
bumper
Like.
and all that there shit in the front of it too. And there's a big scrape up the side of it, like, but he fixed that. Like.
So don't give up on your dreams. If you're looking at any detectives, you know who to call.
Because I was in a bar once and there was a girl asked. I was sitting at the barman didn't know me from Adam, and the girl asked, it's called a Jawbreaker.
Yeah.
And the girl asked for 2 Jawbreakers, and the wee barman says, no, we're not allowed to sell them. So I sort of looked at him, and the girl says, what are you talking about? She says, well, the guy that invented Jawbox doesn't allow us to sell them. So I didn't want to embarrass him in front of this woman.
Yeah.
So we waited till she was away. Now she ended up, she just got something else. And then the wee barman, I called him over and I says, you don't mind me asking, who told you that the guy that made Jawbox doesn't allow people to drink at Honeycomb? Oh, our boss told us and we're not allowed. He says, well, I'm the guy that invented Jaw. And he says, I don't care if they put Coca-Cola in it, as long as they enjoy it. So
It's like an
don't-
undercover boss moment where you're like,
I know.
surprise,
So-
it's me.
That's what you want? They're like,
That's what you were saying
yeah.
earlier
sounds
too.
good.
You've got some weird names. People have called it a lot of weird things.
Yeah, what have we got?
IKEA.
Aqua.
I was saying I called it acacia. I think that's a wood.
Acacia.
I thought it was
definitely said like
Acapulco.
I definitely remember saying to you.
Yeah. Acacia's pretty indie though, you
Yeah,
know.
because Sam
It's
said
a-
to us about coming over for like a chat before we obviously arranged like this, and I remember saying to him, I remember saying to you on the way over, I was like, I wonder will like they give us one of them acacia bowls, and then I was like, I should maybe not say acacia bowl in case it's wrong.
Yeah.
Well, we wrote out a sign in the front of our till, and it says
Acai.
like how to say it, and we
Yeah.
have still got like acid bowls, IKEA bowls.
I think the funniest as
Aqua.
well was like Aki was the main one we were getting, and
Yeah.
then we were behind the till, and it was like
A
people
joke.
would be shouting down, "We Aki bowl there!" to make, and then it would be like people were picking up on this, and then they were
Oh,
continuing
yeah.
to say it. We were like, "We
Yeah.
need to stop that."
I
We
was
were
the
like-
most opposed to this joke out of anyone, because I was like, it's acai, and our staff were going, a wee aki bowl, and then the customers are probably leaving going, oh no, I heard them calling it aki bowl in the
Yeah.
store. And I'm like, no, stop.
Okay, so no names will be said, and I don't even know whether I should say the juice.
Karen.
Okay. Not Karen, right. So I make the juice for this woman. I shouldn't even said woman. And all is fine. I bring it down, and I'm smiling, and she just seems a bit off already. And she grabs the juice, and she realizes it's really cold. Bear in mind, we blend all our drinks with ice. I think 'cause
And ice
warm
is cold.
outside and
Yeah.
you want it, and she says, oh, I don't want it with ice. I'm like, oh right, okay, and I go back and I make the juice again without the ice, and she sees it's slightly a different colour. And she's like, is this the same juice I ordered? And I was like, yes, it is the same juice you ordered. And I say what's in it, and as she's walking out, she heads towards the door, she places the juice nicely into the bin full and walks out.
He says.
Full drink, just because it wasn't the same colour as the one before.
She definitely thought you were trying to poison her.
Honestly, like I was looking, like it was a red drink. It was just a shade off.
Yeah. And I thought that was it over, but like it wasn't. I was in Thailand in August of that year.
Right.
So this is like after I dropped out of uni. Supposed to start, would have been starting second year in September. And I'm like there, I'm out with my mate. We've been there for like 10 days. And just to set the scene, like we're completely skint here.
Yeah.
We've got a £1,500 budget for like a 3-week trip. And we've blown through like $1,000 already.
Fuck, right.
And we're like sort of depressed. We were out the night before. He had lost his second phone, his passport. We're just
Oh,
like
fuck.
deciding should we scrape by £500 for the next 2 weeks
Yeah.
or spend £500 and fly home.
Mhm.
And we're like, right, fuck it, we'll sleep on it. We went to sleep, and I got woke up by this phone call on my sister, and I was kind of like, I had like a couple of missed calls as well.
Yeah.
So I rang her, and she was like real serious voice. She was like, David. And I was like, yeah. She was like, the police are here. And I was like, I was thinking like someone's been in an accident, something horrible has happened here. And she was like, they've got guns, they're going through your stuff. And then I just like jump out of bed, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what the fuck? And she starts just saying what they're doing, and they're looking for stuff. And then I sort of start to think, it comes to my mind like me selling all that stuff.
Yeah.
But this time I still don't really know. I'm just pure hysterical. I'm like crying. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, and then like my mum's on the phone in the hall, and she's like, sorry, I was talking to my dad first, and my dad, he was like asking about it, and I was like, I think this is it. Like the whole like me buying and selling and losing the products. And then my mum comes on the phone. She doesn't really understand what I was doing. So she was like,
Pablo Escobar or something. Like.
first question, did you do it? Like, are you guilty? And I was like, are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
No.
Did she think you were like dealing?
She thought I was in the wrong, like, or she wanted to know because she didn't really understand the whole thing. So like next day we just like, I was like, fuck this, I fly home early and like have to go talk to the police and all, but just tell them the truth, like. And they're like, oh, okay. The way it had been working was the people who were sending to me were using stolen credit cards to buy the products.
So it wasn't you and it was them then, really? They were
using
tracing
stolen
it back
credit cards
basically
and put like my bill and shipping address on it.
Oh, right.
And because the products were coming to be like one by one, I should have caught on.
We are going to
Derry, like I just said.
Derry, Londonderry, whatever you're predicting.
Oh, here we go.
I can feel the TikTok
It's easier
comments.
to say Derry. I
know.
understand.
I agree with you,
don't
man. I agree with you, but that's what I'm saying.
Really, don't have to be this.
Because you know, fine rightly, whenever we chuck this up on TikTok, you'll go, "Oh, we're going to Derry," and someone will literally comment and be like, "You mean Londonderry?"
It's easier to say Derry, is it not?
Yeah.
Londonderry. Derry.
Oh, you're adding an extra 3 letters on.
Three letters.
Yeah, 3 letters.
London's 3 letters.
It is.
London.
LON. Oh, 6, sorry. Oh, man. I had a brain freeze. Oh, there was a TikTok circulating.
Yeah, so basically, Olivia Neal put up a TikTok and she was like saying, oh, being the only person that Ryanair follows. And then if you go on to Ryanair's profile, she's the only person that Ryanair follows, confirmed. So there's been this whole conspiracy that she's the one who does all Ryanair's TikToks. And then this other guy made a TikTok and he was basically like comparing her face to like the face in the Ryanair TikToks.
Same teeth, same eyes.
Yeah, and he was like, it's the same teeth. She's got this beside her lip. It looks exact same, blah, blah, blah.
It was like a mole or something. To be fair, I couldn't see the mole.
So if you haven't seen Ryanair's TikTok, it's funny.
Do you genuinely think it is her?
I don't know. It's hard to know, like. You could see, like, but then
there is similarities.
her TikToks are so different compared to the likes of their TikToks.
The content in Ryanair's TikTok is funny.
Yeah.
She might be a funny girl, I don't know. But her content isn't funny.
I don't know her.
Like, she's like a dancer sort of influencer. Ryanair's content is funny jokes. Like, that's not her vibe.
So you're just basically saying she's not good enough to be able to do that?
I don't think it's her. Because it doesn't like have any resemblance in
the
terms
content.
of
Basically, long story
the type
short,
of
what you're trying to
content.
say is you don't think she's funny enough to be the face
No!
on the plane.
Well, it's only like lips and eyes, but like I don't think it's her. I don't think that's her vibe.
I mean, like, no one in there is gonna go in for actual love. Like, people do get lucky. You know, I believe that like Liam and Millie will stay together for ages. Obviously, like, you've Molly, May and Tommy. They do well, but no one is going in there thinking, I'm not going in here for anything other than followers and stuff like that.
So
you
many of
know,
them said it's like,
yeah,
I'm
like
here for love.
at the end of my interview, she asked me, so she was like, so we have to ask everyone this question, like, are you going in for fame, money or love? And like, she asked me and I was like, and I was like sitting there hesitating, and then in my head I was thinking, why am I hesitating? And I was like, oh, love, obviously love, like I want a boyfriend. And she was like, yeah, okay. I was like, she knows it, right? I wish I turned around and said, oh, you'll have to wait to the final to find out. I feel like she would have sent me in then, but I didn't. I panicked and was like, yeah, love.
How you even want to like stand out with things like that? I just don't. But even this year I was like watched it and I was like no one in this is going to come out and be doing like TV or nothing. Like, I couldn't imagine anyone.
I know, I feel
it,
like they are trying to steer away from the whole like influencer people going in, like they're trying to have like really normal people with normal jobs and stuff, like not really influencers, because there was one person I think that did like social media, well 2 in it this year, but I think everyone else just had normal jobs and that's what they're sort of looking for, which is good. It sort of is like making it look like it's steering away from people that want followers and stuff, but it's not.
But I think if you're going in, like, that's what you need to be doing. Because, like, if you come out of that and you've been at it for weeks, like, how are you meant to get a normal job?
Like,
and
Hugo
stuff,
said he's going to go back to teaching.
No.
And I'm like, how are you going to go and be a teacher
Can you
again?
imagine he was your PE teacher or something like? There's no way you could, but like that's what I mean. It's like jobs they got, like how even like a corporate job, like if you were going to meetings and stuff.
I know, like you would never really be taken seriously again. Like that's something I did really consider whenever I was going in. Like my cousin was very much like, no, don't do it. Like she was like, you will be branded as this here for so long. Like look how hard Molly Mays had to work to get away from that their like title. Like she'll never discuss Love Island on like YouTube or anything. Like she said in one of her recent videos, she doesn't talk about it because she's trying to get away from that. And she was like, you're going to have to do all that there as well to get away from that their like reality TV profile. And I was like, yeah, I know. Like I did really consider that there as well.
But like she'd on YouTube before, didn't she?
Yeah.
They obviously just ran off. Like.
I remember whenever I worked in Carphone, there was one time I was standing at the till and literally heard this like big massive thud, looked over and the iPhone display was like shaking, and the guy had literally ripped one of the iPhones off the wall, but instead of just darting, he remained in the shop as if nothing happened. So I walked up and like I was like kind of overseeing the shift, so I walked up and I was just like, well mate, and I could see him putting the phone in his pocket, and I was like, you know anything about where that phone went? And he's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, you were down here like 2 seconds ago and it started shaking. I was like, did someone come in and like rip the phone off the wall and run off, like trying to catch him out? And he was just like, I was just looking at the phone and pointed to where the phone was ripped off the wall. And I was like, yeah, the phone that, I was like, was that phone there? And he was like, yeah. And I was just like looking at him like, you know that I know that you know that you stole this. So just
should I just turn around and go, let me see your
so
fucking
I turned
pockets
around
then?
and I just like, there's 3 people in the shop at the time, and I was just I just turned around and I thought, I'm gonna catch you out because that's one thing I don't like is lies. And I was just like, I'm gonna
You are a liar.
You're gonna learn today. So I was just like,
You're not gonna lie again, bitch.
I was like, right, everybody. I was like, just for security reasons, I was like, I'm just going to call security. If everybody could just remain in the shop, we've just had a theft. So I went out the back and like put the code in to go out the back to like phone center security, and literally just this like knock at the door, came back out, it was the same guy, and he was like, I found that phone on the floor. And I was like, did you frig? And
What
he
did
was
you
just
say
like,
to
I was like,
him?
right. And he was like, it was like below, like, you know, and like making up this big elaborate story. And I was like, how did you find it? And he was like, I dropped my keys, and when I like bent down I seen it. And I was like, right. And he was like, listen, like, he was like, I'm already on the sort of police radar. He was like, I don't want to be brought into anything because like as soon as the police come in, they're gonna just assume it was me. And I was like, yeah, definitely. And like it's just kind of looking at him like this, so awkward, because I was sitting looking at him going like, where do we go from here?
You could've
Because like
ruined
you
his life.
blatantly stole from us.
Yeah.
Then he walked off, and by that stage, one of the people that I was working with had like waved center security, and so as soon as they came in, I was like, listen, I was like, I don't want any trouble here, but like that guy's definitely stole like that phone. I was like, he give it back to us. So they started going after him. Big massive scene made outside the centre, and they're all pointing at me through the glass window, and I was sitting going like, touts out, like what the heck?
Stitches get
Next minute,
stitches.
you guy came back into the shop, and I was like, he's definitely gonna bury me. Like he came back in, and the security guard from the centre was with him, like escorting him into our shop. And he was like, how would you like to proceed? And I was
Did
just
they
like,
ask you that?
Yeah. And I was just like,
You're
lad,
like, fucking lock him up,
I-
please.
10-4.
So he just walked in, he's like,
squat comes bursting through the
I
ceiling.
love the way they're
were you a manager or anything? Like, or
No, but like our manager had left, so it was
What
like
the
whoever
fuck,
was
man?
most senior in the store
Oh,
just like
right.
got
That's so funny.
passed the mantle basically to lock
Ross
up.
just speaking for Careful.
I
But
love the
like
way you're
I was
like-
just sitting there, and I was just like,
Take him out the backless waterboard and get the truth out.
what do you know? Tell me everything. But he turned around, he came back in, and I was just like, I was
Oh
like,
my
right,
God.
I could not be bothered with this. Like I'm 20, I like I've enough on my plate. Like I don't need to be like, because I was like, the police are gonna come in and
I'm
like
20,
make a
next
big
one.
song and dance about this. And I was like, I don't know this guy as well. Like low on my luck, I'll come out at 9 o'clock to open my car, and he'll be like, I remember me. Here's Johnny, Michael, and Francis, my 3 older brothers, and get the crap kicked out of me.
Oh my god.
So I turned around, I was like, listen, I was like the phone was there. I was like I can't prove anything, there's no CCTV here. I was like, so like appreciate the phone. Like I looked at him and I was like, I appreciate you giving me back the phone which you freaking stole. I was like, I appreciate you giving me back the phone. And he shook my hand and all. He like leant over the counter, he shook my hand, he's like, thanks for being so sound, and just walked off. I was just sitting going like,
You should have grasped his hand so hard and just been reeling him back in and being like, I hate liars.
and in terms of there, you were sort of saying about you're putting a lot on the line. Like you are, whenever you step in that ring, it's not just a case of I might get hurt. There's obviously head injuries involved, which now is such a big focus where you know that could lead to more than just an injury, if you know what I mean. But do you think, in terms of, you touched on it there, the pay, so even when you look at like the UFC, it's not as well paid as what I think people think. It's like a lavish sort of lifestyle. I think people see like some McGregor and they see
60
you know,
G's, baby.
Yeah, 60 G's baby and all
Dana.
that there, yeah. Dana. But like, what is sort of your thoughts on that?
I mean, like, fighters are not getting paid enough, period. Like, you look at, I see the stat, it was like the percentages of what the athletes get paid. So the NBA is like over 50%, the NFL is like 40%, and the UFC is something like less than 10.
Yeah.
So like, these fighters are not getting paid enough. Like, as you say, people think you're living like a lot. People will look at me 9 days ago, right, and they'll see the belt and they'll see the crowds and they'll see the fucking interviews and they'll think, he's living the fucking life, he must be making a bit of bank. Mate, you're making nothing. You're making nothing in this game. Like, we're relying on sponsors to get us through your training camps, basically now. But see, when you hit UFC, like, I could sign to UFC tomorrow, I'll be starting off on about 12 and 12, which means, and this is dollars as well, or 12 to 14, so 14 to show, which means just to fight you get 14 grand dollars, not a lot, and then if you win you get an hour 14. Alright, so if you put that together, what, 24 or 28, whatever it is, and you take off your percentages, so your management fees, your coaching fees, and then you pay your taxes. So what people don't understand, you fight in America, you get 30% of your purse taken off you straight away from the government. Depending on what state you're in, like, the taxes come out differently. So like, you take off half that straight away, you're left with fuck all.
That's like
Like,
6 or
taking
7
the
grand
consideration,
straight away gone.
taking the consideration that your camp costs and just living the life and do what you need to do, which costs money. You want to be training the best of your possible ability, the best nutrition, the best recovery. I mean, this is what people don't understand. Like, unless you're in that upper echelon, that top 5%, you're not making enough now, and that's why it's just so important to build your brand outside of fighting. And I mean, you're seeing that now with everyone. Everybody's all the fighters are being smart with it. McGregor changed the game in that regard. Like, you got to build your brand and you got to get your name out there to pay the bills. Like,
they're like, you're their little bitch. Do you know what I mean? they're putting down the prices. If you don't want to drink, and you can go to the shop and get a few cans.
I seen there not too long ago, you went to the Black Fords in Dublin, McGregor's pub.
That was a popular one,
I think that was the one that popped up actually popped up for me. Was you there and you tried his?
Yeah,
you tried his one.
Yeah, so McGregor made, well, you say McGregor made, I'd say he had fuck all to do with it, but he put his name on this new Black Forge stout. Again, like, that was just, so generally, like I was saying to you before, like, my videos, usually it's 2 to 3, let's say 2 videos a month of me going to a new town or whatever, but like, there's a bit to that. You have to travel up and go and probably stay the night and all that, so doing that every week is a bit much. So maybe 2 of them a month, and then like trying to think what else would be good. And I don't sit there thinking, like, if I've no other ideas, I'll just pick a town and go. But something like the Conor McGregor video, like, that was all I have to do is go, and I drank 2 pints, and it's like a 30-minute drive away, and I come home. Whereas compare that to driving or coming up to Belfast and staying the night, and fucking it's 2 days, and I just, like, you gotta be realistic with it. Not like clickbaity, but like, I know if I go to Conor McGregor's pub, which is a new pub, it's very relevant. It's Conor McGregor. Everyone, whether you love him or hate him, people want to see something that he's involved in. And like, so I just went and I tried I tried the Guinness, which was alright, and then the big thing was to try this Black Forge Stout, because I had been tagged in a lot of pictures that they were putting out, and obviously they're going to have a good marketing team. He's paying God knows how much, like, and I went, and the place, to be fair, people say it used to be a bit of a kip, like, I would have no idea. Real nice. It's like fancy without being pretentious, because the area it's in wouldn't be like D4. It's in not a rough area, but it's in like proper Dublin, like Crumlin, Drimna. Was
it the pub that a lot of people say he was?
I didn't know that when I went, but apparently I couldn't say if it is or isn't, but apparently, I don't know if people are saying that as a joke, but it's like he punched your man and then he bought it, like, so that'd be pretty funny if it is if it is that pub. But I didn't know that going in, to be honest. I thought there's no chance of that. But yeah, and then here was the kicker. Like, I like to think, like when you see, now I'm doing it full time, luckily, you kind of look at it money wise a little bit different. You're like, oh well, I have to pay the bills, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've always, and I've like not had arguments with my girlfriend and stuff, but she'd be like, and the lads would be like, even say that I was saying to you before, like a pub might say, we'll throw you a few £100 and come and review it, but it can be an honest review. Like I'll never do that. I just think that's, you're muddying the waters. The lines are getting blurred, and then lads are going to start, is he getting paid for this? Is he not? I keep it very like, all I'm getting paid for is the sponsor of the video, and if the video does well, I'll get a few bob off the ads from it. Yeah. That's it. There's no like, oh, I'm here in this place, and if I'm somewhere, I'll say this is say I go somewhere, this is a local sponsor or something. Do you know what I mean? But I won't just be like, oh, I stumbled upon this pizza shop. This is great pizza. Do you know what I mean? Like I try to keep it real, because there's just so many people online, and it's just, they're just flogging shite they don't even like just for free. Yeah. So the point being, long-winded answer, whoever was on the Black Forge in Instagram was like to me, I just said, is it cool? Most pubs I would just rock up and say, can I film myself doing a review? They say grand. But with these, I just thought they might be a bit weird with cameras and stuff, so I just said, right, do you mind if I come to your pub and review the Guinness and review the here we go again, the Black Forge Stout? And he said, yeah, no problem, and if you really like it, send us the video and we'll send it to Conor, or we'll get Conor to share it. So I'm thinking, right, Conor McGregor, like 50 million followers. What's the play here? What's the play here? Do I just go,
new favourite drink?
Yeah. Do I go and say this is amazing and double my following, or do I just keep it real? And the lads who are following me will be like, the lads are nothing. Yeah. The lads who are following me will be like, fair fucks, like. Yeah. So I went and I said it's all right. It's decent. It wouldn't be my cup of tea. It was decent, maybe like a 7 out of 10. I actually compared. There's a new thing coming out called Island's Edge, like another stout, and I kind of compared it to that, and I said a bit better than that, but I just said it's grand. And then knowing full well that I wasn't going to get a share from McGregor or whatever, but then I actually heard there was like good rumors going around. Not even rumors, because I said it in the video, but like people were basically the kind of thing was being said was, fair fucks to that Guinness fella, he was apparently offered. Now the rumour was I was offered money to go, which there was never any money. It was just offered to be shared by McGregor, and they were like, apparently he was offered money and he just went and said it was okay, like, so that's fair enough, or that's fair play, like. But obviously any rumour could spread. But yeah, I just think like I'm such a long game person. Yeah, like say my Instagram now is for me is doing great. It's like 30,000 followers, which I'm absolutely delighted with, and there's chances come along where you think, fucking like get cheeky 10,000 followers off of something here. But I just think, like, who are those 10,000 followers going to be? The 30,000 people following me are like 95% just lads and the odd girl. It's about 10 girls, but who just like pints and like me and follow me for my videos. Whereas like you see pages on 100,000, and once they get there, they just start saying, well, I just start flogging random shit now. I'm just such a long game, like just kind of turtle and what is it? Tortoise in the hair? Whatever the fuck that one is.
Have you had any like we've also said before, like being a watch salesman is quite dangerous at times?
Yes, yeah, it's very dangerous. People underestimate that, but has there
been any sort of situations you've got in that you've
done? Venezuela.
Is that the story? Because I was going to mention that in the Best of Belfast podcast, you said about getting chased and stuff.
Gone, like being shot and stuff like that.
Seriously?
Like
can you give us an example? Like, or?
People think I'm a watch dealer, I sell watches, which is the reality. But certain watches where the game that I play is dangerous, right? So that makes me actually quite safe in Belfast. But if I walk around in London, it's a different story, right? But like if you're, I was on a holiday in Curacao. Curacao is a Dutch island. And Curacao is on the coast of Venezuela, and this was it was April, May, whenever it was actually, that was June. Let me check. It was June, I think, and that was just when the new Pepsi was introduced. New Pepsi on the Jubilee bracelet, unbelievable. And literally, I got four of those watches. One of the first ones to be able to have them in the UK, and I got them out of Venezuela, and I was chased by fucking terrorists, mate. Like gunshots and shit at the car. Like, seriously? This is carnage. Like, it's fucking carnage. At that moment, you're fucking scared, but like if you want to have something that is like a piece of art or something that is that special, then you source that out of an area which is dangerous.
Were you on your own, like driving?
Yeah.
Like,
No,
people
I
are
wasn't
shooting
driving.
at you.
Like, I had a,
you had a driver.
There's a driver. Like I wouldn't fucking know where to go. Like
that would be the scariest experience. Because see, if someone started shooting at my car, like I know I'm gonna bury this thing and fly away. But like you've got a driver in the car, so what are you just yelling at him? Drive, and he's like, oh well, it's a 70. I need to do 70. You know what I mean?
There are situations you need to prepare for in the industry. Like I mean, us watch dealers, we have been targeted by criminals daily. Like no one knows where I live.
Yeah.